White people ruined most of everything. Before Europeans colonized the globe,
Oh?
thousands of indigenous peoples acknowledged and celebrated multiple gender identities as
Hey everybody, Brad here with another video where I react to some dumb and annoying left-wing TikToks from a center-right moderate perspective. Buckle up and get ready to lose some brain cells with me because some of these are really strange. But if you're new here, I'm Brad Polumbo. I cover all the craziest things on the internet. Do consider sticking around. And if you get a kick out of this video, don't forget to like and comment with your thoughts. Now, let's dive into the bastion of entertainment and idiocy, also known as TikTok.
white people ruined most of everything. Before Europeans colonized the globe,
Oh?
thousands of indigenous peoples acknowledged and celebrated multiple gender identities as part of their culture. Not only did Europeans spread religion to get others to convert to their ideologies, but the idea of the gender man and woman was also a European ideology. That was one of the tools of the colonization process. And then men and women became the standardized gender identity as what we now know today.
So, a lot to unpack there. But first, I just love the way these TikTokers get away with talking about white people ruined everything. Like, you will never catch me talking about an entire group of people like that. Anyway, it is true that some Native Americans had third genders, although it was kind of a more spiritual thing in some cultures. But that doesn't change the fact that they still had distinct concepts of man and woman that were closely aligned with biological sex, which is dimorphic, meaning there are two. It's just not true, and I really don't know how to explain why it's not true, that white colonizers invented the idea of man and woman. Plenty of non-white civilizations in the pre-colonial era had distinct concepts of man and woman that were centered around biological reality and the two sexes. Of course, there have been cultural varieties and differentiations in what is masculine and feminine and what is a man's role and a woman's role in all of these cultures. But these two concepts still always have, and frankly, always will, exist in societies. I swear, some of these TikTok people live in alternate realities. Where do they come up with this stuff? What kind of an echo chamber are they in where they can just spout off like this and nobody disagrees with them or corrects them? Gosh, don't let your kids go down these rabbit holes on that app. Please, please don't. Up next, did you know America is now a third world country, according to some TikTok people?
This is your daily reminder that capitalism does not work. A recent MIT study shows that although the United States is the richest country in the world, it has regressed materially to a third world nation for most of its citizens. One of the main reasons this is happening is because of the economic policy decisions of Ronald Reagan that continued on for the last 40 years to slash social programs. With housing, for example, Reagan's presidency cut 3.3 million units of affordable government-assisted housing. He also lowered taxes on the highest income bracket from around 70% down to 28%, causing the middle and lower class to be responsible for carrying the load. The middle and lower class cannot carry the load on their own, and so this has led to decreases in education and inability of our country to be able to update our infrastructure, and surprisingly to Reagan's economists, it has decreased social mobility for all within the U.S.
How does one person get this confused, addled, and out of touch? Now, look, I normally wouldn't even bother with this TikTok because the dude who posted it can't even spell the name correctly of the president he's supposedly critiquing, but this got 68,000 likes on that app. So let's talk about it. Now, the idea that the United States has materially regressed to the status of a third world country is so absurd and far-fetched that it's hard to actually engage with, because all around us we can look and see, and if you've ever been to a third world country, you will know that whatever our problems might be here, this is still not that. It's also funny coming from the same groups of people that are getting offended about everything these days, because if you ask me, that's actually kind of offensive to people who live in third world countries and struggle to compare what we have here to their struggles. I'd be kind of offended by that. Anyway, back in the land of reality, we can actually look at something called the Human Development Index, or HDI, to compare living standards and the status of different countries and their economies. When we do that, we see that the United States ranks in the top 20, and you can look at this map and you can see that where the scores are green, that's good, black is the highest, dark green is really good, and then where it turns to yellow and orange and red is where things really aren't developed. And this is all measuring concepts like standard of living, education, and life expectancy, the kind of things that tell us whether you're a third world or first world country, although those are kind of outdated and arbitrary terms anyway. What we're really talking about is how developed a country is, and by just about every metric, the United States is one of the most developed economies and countries in the world. We've got plenty of problems. Let me tell you, I could talk about all of them for a long time, but the idea that we're a third world nation because of capitalism and Ronald Reagan is unhinged and untethered from reality. Oh, and please do tell me more about how we have slashed social spending since the Reagan era. That just betrays a total ignorance of the growth of government and the vast increases in government spending that we've seen over the last 40 years. It's also genuinely wild to me that anyone would blame the lack of affordable housing in the United States on capitalism. Capitalism is when you have free markets competing, but we have in the housing sector in many parts of this country heavily restricted markets due to overzealous government regulations, permitting schemes, zoning processes, all these things that in urban areas make it next to impossible to build housing and incredibly costly even when you can. So yeah, we have a big shortage of housing and therefore prices are high. That's Econ 101, but it's not the result of free market capitalism by any stretch of the imagination. Other than those few pesky details and some spelling errors, you're doing great though, man. Just keep it up. Top tier stuff. Up next, should women have to pay taxes?
When I say this, I'm dead serious. I'm not trying to be funny. I'm not joking. Nothing. I don't think women should pay taxes. I can't think of one good reason why we should pay taxes. I think we contribute enough. I think we suffer enough. And I don't think that's something we should have to do. And I say that with my whole chest.
So, look, ideally, I would like everyone to pay as little in taxes as possible. I want us to have a very, very small level of taxation in government. But I'm sorry, girly. Women are going to have to pay taxes just like men. Like, that. This is the equality and the feminism that you wanted, and you can't just have the good parts. Of course, I could also point out how obviously illegal and unconstitutional it would be to set different tax rates according to biological sex, but that almost makes me feel like I'm going insane for even bothering to engage with this on any serious level. Up next, this young lady thinks she has a solution to young people's problems, and that solution is Joe Biden?
I think women are mistaking wanting to be a trad wife and a stay-at-home girlfriend with just wanting universal basic income. Women are getting on this app and being like, I'm so tired from all this endless labor and minimal reward and these high costs of living. I wish a man would just provide for me. There is a man that should be providing for you. He should be providing for all of us. His name is Joe Biden.
So on one level, this is just cringe, but I actually think there's a deeper insight to be gleaned from this kind of TikTok and the commentary that it prompted. In my view, it reveals a deeper divide between woke young people and, well, everyone else. I don't, and I never really have, wanted someone to provide for me. All I've ever really wanted is to be free to pursue my life goals and ambitions and to take care of and provide for myself and be self-sufficient as an adult. The desire to have some political figure take care of me, whether it's Joe Biden or Donald Trump or whoever, is completely alien to me. We're just on a fundamentally different page if you think like this. I will just say though, Joe Biden does not have any money to spend. All he can do is spend our money. And he's done quite enough of that already, if you ask me. The only way I'd theoretically be open to something like UBI or Universal Basic Income, where everyone gets, a monthly income of X amount from the government every month, is if it were to replace all existing welfare programs. You could make a case for that. The libertarian economist, famous capitalist economist Milton Friedman famously talked about this. You could make a narrow case for that if you were to replace existing welfare, because you could get rid of the bureaucracy and administration and some of the work disincentive by just replacing it all with just a cash monthly allotment. But I think in reality, if a UBI was ever to happen, it would probably be on top of everything else. So I think that's the last thing we need. If just funneling more money into big government programs could eradicate poverty, I think we would have solved the issue back when the national debt was still in the single trillions of dollars. Alright guys, that's all the woke TikTok I can handle in one sitting without incurring permanent brain damage. If you got a kick out of this video, do drop a like, comment with your thoughts, let me know which one of the videos you enjoyed the most, and do consider subscribing. This channel's growing really fast. We're almost at 100K, and we were just at like 20K at the start of 2023, so really growing really fast. Thanks again to you all for tuning in, and I'll see you next time. If you're not sick of me yet, though, and I'm really not sure how that could be, you must have the patience of a saint, you could go here or here to check out some of my other recent content.